How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another video, and today we're going to be testing out the Lumix S5 Mark II with various different lenses, primarily though the 70-200 f4 telephoto lens. Not a whole lot of people have reviewed this lens for the Mark II, so I'd love to be one of the first, or if not one of the few, to review this lens. We're going to be here at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton to film the Big Air event, which is this guy right here. So I'm really excited to film all of that for you guys. We're going to be catching some awesome action shots of the snowboarders doing some amazing jumps. So you're going to come along with me. I'm going to strap the GoPro to my chest, and we're going to document the entire event while showing you some shots, videos, and how good the camera performs. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay guys, so I really wish I was able to narrate as I was filming, but because the DJs were playing music, I don't really want to get a copyright strike. So I'm going to have to walk you through after the fact, me and my little workstation here. But just a heads up, all of the photos and videos I'm going to show you do not have noise reduction applied. And the reason for that is I want you guys to see what the product would look like in its natural form. There is a bit of a color grade applied to some of the videos. There is a little bit of an auto color adjustment done to some of the photos as well, but no noise reduction has been applied because I want you guys to experience what the content looks like straight from this camera in its natural form. So without further ado, let's get into it, guys. So we're gonna start off with some of the photos. That first one I showed you was one of my favorite from the entire event, but for the most part, the autofocus with the 70-200 f4 was really reliable. I would say about 8 out of 10 photos were in focus and were more than usable throughout the process. But there were a couple instances where the camera would show, as you're going to see here in this GoPro footage, that the subject's in focus, the yellow boxes around it, the green boxes around it. And then you would look back at the picture you took and the athlete was not as focused as you would want to have it. And whether I was in one area or I was in full area autofocus modes, sometimes it would do a really good job at capturing the athletes and sometimes it wouldn't. But the one thing I did notice is if there weren't a ton of people in the background, I found that the full area with human detect did a very good job at finding the subject you're trying to shoot and pull focus and keep focus on them really well. So as you can see here, I was kind of bouncing around between those two different modes because those were the ones I was primarily shooting with, and those were the modes that I found the most success with. But overall, the autofocus was really nice. It was very fast and did a great job at maintaining focus on the athletes. So again, I would say about 8 to 8.5 times out of 10, the subjects and the athletes were in focus and the photo was more than doable. But what about video? So here's a really good example. This was in full area mode and the camera did a really good job at, keeping the athletes in focus. And the one thing I did notice though is when the Lumix S5 Mark II does lose focus, the way it tries to pull it back feels so natural. There's something about it that doesn't feel jarring or almost artificial. It's almost like our human eye, the way we pull focus back on certain subjects, it's very smooth, it feels natural, and it made shooting with this camera super enjoyable. It made it feel, in some cases, very cinematic, almost as if like you're shooting manual focus, pulling focus, in the manual form. So it was a really cool experience, actually, and one that was very enjoyable throughout the entire time. But yeah, so let's look at a couple examples where some of the photos just didn't turn out so good. When I changed to the ramp, there were many instances where the camera would take a while to find the subject that I want to focus on. And this is a prime example of it. The athlete sometimes would not be in focus and the background would be. But in other cases, like this one, the picture came out beautifully, where the athlete was really nicely in focus. And other times it just wasn't. So that was one of those things where it almost felt like that's where a Sony product would come in really handy. Their autofocus is just beautiful. And this is a prime example. Like the background is in focus, but the athlete wasn't. So I would find that full area and one area would be the best zones to try and get the focus to work beautifully. In some cases it worked very well. In other cases it was just a little bit delayed and threw away the photo, unfortunately. But where this camera shines, in my opinion, is in video. The way it shoots video is something that makes it so enjoyable to experience with the Lumix S5 Mark II. And given its picture profile, it's a very natural, gorgeous picture profile to work with. And I just feel like you're gonna have a good time filming with it. That said, there were moments like this where it just wouldn't keep in focus, and even sometimes getting that focus back was a really hard time for the camera to do. There were some moments where autofocus just wouldn't get locked in, and it would not pull focus fast enough or pull focus at all. That was another example there. It happened a couple times, but for the most part, I did a very good job at grabbing focus on the subjects you're trying to shoot. And when it wouldn't be in focus, it would pull it back naturally. And overall, what I would say is, as a hybrid camera, it does the job. It takes beautiful photos, it takes incredible videos, and you'll have a lot of fun shooting with it, especially with the 70-200. And given how good the stabilization is with this camera, it made shooting everything super fun. It's not jarring, it's smooth, it's enjoyable, it won't be difficult to view for your audience. It just made the experience that much better. And you gotta remember, guys, I didn't shoot anything here with a tripod. Everything was handheld. And the camera did such a good job, even with this focal distance, at keeping everything nice, natural, and stable. And that is what made the end product that much better to work with. So would I recommend this setup? Absolutely. There were some moments that, yes, the autofocus wasn't as snappy or as good as its competitor Sony would be, but quite honestly, guys, this camera will do the trick. Whether you're a professional, whether you're a beginner, it can grab beautiful photos like these ones. In my opinion, these more still and relaxed shots is where the Lumix S5 shines. The action shots, that's where it kind of does show its inconsistencies a bit. But overall, this is such a good value for what you're paying and what you're getting with this combination. The 70-200 is a fantastic lens to shoot with. This was a quick little video that I made for Instagram. If you guys want to go and follow me, my Instagram handle is right there. Everything, again, shot with that lens, 70-200. We are zoomed in pretty far, and the content's stable. It's very nice. It's not jarring, it's not shaky, it's not wobbly, and the picture quality is fantastic. So I had such a good time filming with this lens. It was one of my favorite lenses I've used so far, alongside my 50 prime that I picked up quite a few months back. But overall, guys, this was a fantastic experience. The photos came out really nice. If you do want to see more of those photos, please do follow me on Instagram. That's where I do end up posting all of my content as well. And yeah, hopefully everything that I showed you today will help you make an informed decision on this camera and the 70-200 millimeter f4 lens.